Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
Welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. But for a radio audience tuning in at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all could be with us. Also, joining us our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast. Glad you all could join us as well. We're excited to welcome Kato Kaelin to our program today. You guys know Kato, not only, of course, as an actor, but also as a writer, and is the co-host of a popular podcast called ONE DEGREE of Scandalous. He's also the host and producer of Ice Wars. We'll talk to him about the world of podcasting and what it's been like for him to use that to not only share current and past high-profile scandals, but also to be able to show other people what's possible when it comes to pursuing their own goals and aspirations as well. Kato, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Cyrus, thanks a lot. My God, that intro right now, I feel I'm golden. You made me like the morning, and now I'm ready to conquer the world because of Cyrus Webb.
Well, I appreciate that. Kato, I really want to start, if you don't mind, with podcasting because I think it is such a powerful platform. What has it been like for you to kind of build this world online using podcasting where you're able to do what you love, but also, as I mentioned, to show people what's possible?
Oh, yeah, 100% right on that. I've been approached for years to do a podcast. I said, no, it's not the right vehicle, until I got approached by a gentleman named Tom Zenner. And Tom's background history of being in Boston, Chicago, and then a news anchor of Phoenix, he's worked it, and I said, he's the perfect guy for me to do a podcast with because I'm pretty crazy. He keeps me under control, and he kind of leads it, and then I can just kind of freeform, and it's going great. I said our show basically is we push the envelope until you get paper cuts because we go everywhere. We get the current scandals of what's going on to the past scandals. And I'll tell you, people, as you know, Cyrus, people for some reason gravitate towards crime and scandal. That's why you've got shows like The Forensic File or 48 Hours. And our show focuses on, for instance, the Johnny Depp trial. We had one of the people that sat there in the courtroom, Johnny Depp, Amber Heard. And I said, now Alec Baldwin's coming up with his trial, and I'm associated with the trial. So it's the perfect vehicle for me because I've been there. And it's interesting that people, when the Alec Baldwin trial is going to be, televised, trust me, it'll be huge ratings because who knows? The prosecution doesn't have a trial unless they've got enough evidence, and we're going to find out exactly what happened on the set of Rust. And we'll get someone on our podcast from that, somewhere on the crew, an actor that will be on ONE DEGREE of Scandalous, and people can watch us on YouTube. But that's the great vehicle about that. And everything's kind of led for me getting more and more work because of the podcast. And, speaking of courtrooms, I just shot a pilot with John Gray. If you know who John Gray is, just Google him. Millions of followers. He's the judge on the show. And on Teen Court, I'm the host. Court basically is teens now fighting their parents in the courtroom over things like, Mom, I want my pronouns to be she, he, or I want to get a butt lift. And, we have real cases, and we have the NIL case of the names, image, and likeness of a 16-year-old fighting his parents. It's my money, not your money. It's real issues. And, like I said, we shot these in a courtroom, and they were heated battle with the parents. And I'm going, my God, parents and teenage kids, they really do butt heads, but the parents really love their kids, but the kids just don't have the wisdom yet. And so the Judge John Gray does his thing where he comes up with a situation. We have a child psychologist in the room, and we got me in the courtroom interviewing the jury. So that's a great element. And then I got to tell you, Cyrus, I also just a blessed 2022 and 2023 already starting. I have a show called Ice Wars. It's hockey fights on ice. We've gotten so much publicity. We're going in our third pay-per-view coming up in March, and it's professional hockey players on ice. No game, just the fights. So they wear 4-ounce MMA gloves, and someone becomes king of the rink. And the publicity that we're getting from Barstool Sports, the Pat McAfee show, people love it. So I'm so busy. It's gone great. And someone called me and said, will you do the Cyrus Webb show? I said, I'm kind of, Cyrus Webb? Yes, I'll do it.
Well, look, Kato, that's going to make for a great soundbite for me. So thank you for that. but seriously, Kato, I think the great thing about what you've been able to do, and I noticed when I was prepping for this and I was reading about Ice Wars, is that you're not just a person who has to be in front of the camera. You're a producer on Ice Wars as well. Is that also part of what you love about the business of entertainment? Is that you're able to play different roles and get to grow in different roles?
Oh, 100%. I went from I'm hosting Ice Wars and producing it, so I'm blessed to have my friend Charlie Nama, who played professional hockey. It's all because of relationships from 20 years ago. And it's funny, as obviously everybody gets older, the older I get, it's all those past relationships of never burning a bridge and always being kind to people, which is the truth.
Yeah.
You're kind to people, they always think of you and something will happen. And it came at a later, whatever reason from above, my blueprint in life, everything's coming later in life. Maybe because if I was a young kid getting all this, it would have torn me apart. I don't know. I can't answer that. But everything's kind of happening later in life. And I come from a very large family in Wisconsin. And when you have a large family, they keep you very humble. So all the great stuff's happening. I'm just going to completely share with all my friends of any kind of success. And, sometimes friends don't want you to be successful. That's a bad friend. But when your friends go, yes, baby, you got it going on, then you know you're with the right group of friends and you'll have them forever.
Yeah. Kato, with so much going on in your life right now, how do you choose? Because I can imagine, as you said, a lot of things are coming your way. How do you decide what's a good fit for you?
Well, some of it just has to do with an agent or manager going over what's the best vehicle for me. I'll tell you, 2 years ago, I was lucky to be on this show called Celebrity Big Brother, and the president of CBS at the time was Kelly Call, and Kelly, the president of CBS, one of the biggest broadcasting networks, happened to be from Wisconsin, and he happened to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and then they called and said, will you do the show? That changed kind of my life because at the time I was hosting all the Comic-Cons around the world as the host of Wizard World, the largest Comic-Con. And so that increased the value of Kato because I did this show and I lasted for 21 days, which was really actually hard because you have no social media, you got no TV, and you're living with strangers in the house. And that changed it for me because it became an instant kind of hit and popular for me, and everything went up in my life. And then that turned into, once again, Cyrus, I never stopped pursuing the goal that I moved out back in the 80s to pursue a goal of acting, and everything is just, everything's coming my way right now, which is not a good thing if I'm driving on the wrong way in the freeway. Everything's going my way, but I'm in the wrong lane. So I think that's the kind of advice is, everybody says follow your dream and all that. I think you follow your dream, but work hard for your dream too.
Yeah. And that's one thing, Kato, about you. You're not afraid of the hard work, and that definitely shows itself in the projects you're able to do. Last thing I want to ask you about, Kato, and we do appreciate this time, is you're kind of looking at this journey for you, especially when it comes to shows you've been able to do, like One Degree of Scandalous in particular. What do you want people to know, though, about the importance of the lessons learned? Because I think that's part of what you all have been able to do with these podcasts. Yes, you're sharing the stories, but also you're sharing, I think the lessons that we can kind of learn from those. What is it that you hope people take away from the podcast from that aspect?
Well, I think, first of all, I think when you do a podcast about scandal, I think people have got to kind of listen to the show and kind of sit back and realize that their life really is good. I think it's good not to be involved in scandal. You can listen to it, but you kind of just listen and thank God that your life is okay. You're breathing. You've got food on the table, even though the price of oranges is pretty high now. So I think if you look at it that way, I think my belief is I always look for the light. I'm the one person looking at the light at the end of the tunnel, not the tunnel at the end of the light. And I just think everything kind of just flows with hard work, and I think things really will go your way. And I think part of its discipline is of waking up like we're up, I'm on the West Coast time, and just accomplishing something. And I really do believe this. My parents have passed away, but my entire life my parents would say, appreciate every moment, and I really do. And that's kind of instilled in me.
Love that. Love that. Kato Kaelin, again, has been our guest. He is the co-host of One Degree of Scandalous, but the host and producer of Ice Wars. Make sure you guys are following him on social media. We're going to tag him for our audience joining us on Facebook as well as to the podcast. Kato, again, congratulations to you, and thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Hey, well, I'll tell you what, Cyrus, really quick. My whole life I kept wondering what the CW network meant, and now I know. Cyrus Webb.
Hey, one day, Kato, one day. I appreciate that. Thanks again, man. Really do appreciate you.
All right, my friend. Thank you, Cyrus.
And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Thanks as always. Enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.